I will explain what a change request management is before we get started with this video. A change request is where someone within a business proposes a change to a project, usually a change to a product or system. Even the best planned projects might require changes, which could be something very minimal, or could be a significant change. You also have the added complexity that some change requests will be categorized as in scope and will be delivered as part of the project by the established team, while some will be out of scope. Small changes that are not going to cost a lot of money to implement or make significant impact to the delivery of the project will usually be classed as in scope. Larger changes that will cost considerably more will require more work to review and approve the resources and costs and therefore are usually out of scope. The process of someone submitting the change management request and the subsequent work to review and approve or reject it, then allocating ownership if it is approved, is referred to as change request management. Change requests may come from outside the company or from within. For instance, a team member who is actively working on the project may send you a change request form, or the customer may ask for changes to the deliverables that were previously agreed upon. In either case, these suggestions run the risk of being forgotten, hidden, or just ignored if there isn't a proper change request procedure in place. Although the specifics are unique to each organization, implementing change requests management requires a step-by-step approach to making changes. Let us now discuss the framework for an effective change request process. 1. Gather supporting documents. Collect all the relevant supporting documentation. To be able to assess whether the change is a high priority or whether it is necessary at all relevant documentation to describe the change that is required and any supporting materials that might add to the rationale behind the change request should be collated. The request should outline why the change is required and what benefits the change will bring about, for example, better customer service, an improvement to a product, etc. 2. Decide scope validity. Decide whether it is inside or outside of scope. Before any work is done to take the change forward, it should be determined whether it sits inside or outside the scope of the project. Factors such as how much budget and how much work will be involved should help to make this decision. 3. Prioritize change request. The next key step is to analyze how important the change is. Is it completely essential to the business, or is it more something that is just nice to have? How big is the benefit to the business? There may also be other change requests, in which case you will need to decide which is more important and should be implemented first. 4. Approve/reject change request. Using all of the information and analysis from the previous steps, you should now be able to make the decision as to whether to approve or reject the request. If you have a change request team and it is a relatively small change, the team should have the authority to approve or reject the change. However, if it is a bigger change with large costs, it may need to get approved by the appropriate budget owner/executive. 5. Plan the implementation. If the decision is to reject the request, the person who submitted the request should be informed and the reason for rejection should be explained. If the change is approved, then the next step is to put the relevant plans into place to implement the change. This will involve allocating the tasks to the relevant team/resources. However, there are sophisticated digital solutions available, and using a change request management platform will make the process much easier and more efficient. All of the steps listed above and any other relevant actions that are required will be built into the process. Multiple types of change requests exist, differing primarily on the change's objective and level of execution. Adjusting the scope or deliverables of a project without a proper change request process can also cause confusion and misalignment of the project team and project stakeholders. The change management process includes 4 types of change requests based on their risk and impact. Here are the 4 change request types that exist. 1. Major change. A major change is a high-risk, high-impact change that requires proper planning to prevent disruptions in live production environments. Change evaluation is essential for determining the approval workflow and schedule. It requires active management and the Change Advisory Board's (CAB) approval. If applicable, the change request includes a comprehensive cost-benefit, risk impact, and financial impact analysis. Examples of major change include the relocation of a data center or the replacement of an existing enterprise solution. 2. Standard change. A standard change is a low-risk, low-impact change that has already been defined and approved. It is a periodic modification that adheres to a standard operating procedure, employing change templates with pre-filled information. Unlike the usual process flow, in a standard change, the initial approval is a one-time event and subsequent approvals do not require CAB confirmation. Examples of standard changes include operating system upgrades and patch deployments. 3. Minor change. A minor change is a small but non-trivial type of change request with low impact and risk. These rarely occurring changes are subject to all stages of the change lifecycle, including CAB approval. It is essential to document pertinent information for future use. In the future, it is possible that the minor change may turn into a standard change. Examples of minor changes include website modifications and performance enhancements. 4. Emergency change. Emergency changes are random disruptions that are important to resolve immediately. It manages change requests retroactively after implementing the system. It is crucial for the emergency CAB to comprehend the impact and manage approvals. Emergency changes necessitate a post-implementation review to identify potential future risks, and it is important to have detailed documentation to support post-change execution. Examples of an emergency change can include fixing a security breach or a server outage. Having a process to manage change requests effectively is crucial and can influence the project's success. A transparent management procedure allows you to comprehend the repercussions of any changes and to make appropriate decisions. A properly documented change request can help you manage the process efficiently. Using a change request form makes tracking the request and its progress easy. Here are some components that are necessary to include in the documentation of a change request. 1. Requester and request number. Typically, the document requires information regarding who is requesting the change. This indicates whether the request is internal or external. You can also add a unique request number. This facilitates the logging and tracking of requests. Including a request name and number can also differentiate between requests within the same project. 2. Request description. A thorough explanation of the request is an essential component of the document. This section explains the stakeholders' requested changes. It is important that it contains enough information to prevent any vagueness regarding the nature of the request and to help the team determine which changes are necessary to fulfill the request. 3. Reason for the change. It is helpful to mention the reason for the change request. This section can explain the primary issue that may necessitate a change. It may also contain any additional observations that suggest alterations to the project. 4. Requested changes. This section describes specific changes the team can make to implement the request. This can include changes to the budget or schedule, for example. It may be necessary to include project specialists in this section because they can evaluate the specific changes required by the project more accurately. 5. Change request deadline. If applicable, the document can specify a deadline for the change request. This allows the team to evaluate the request and determine its urgency. The priority of the request may influence the team's decision-making process. 6. Request approval status. This section shows the request's processing status at each stage for easy reference. The status of all approvers determines the request's approval status. After the approvers decide, the status reflects either accepted or declined. If accepted, the change request can move to the next phase. 7. Closure section. The closure section provides the final determination regarding the change request. If the evaluating team approves a request, it is important to notify the project team as soon as possible so that they can prepare. It is also helpful to update any deliverables or deadlines affected by the change promptly so that the information is easily accessible. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to visit our online educational platform at www.eduslides.com by registering for free courses. Guess what? You can as well earn a certificate of completion after completing your course, and you don't have to pay to register. Why not subscribe to our YouTube channel to get more videos by clicking the subscribe button below?